Hello there, and thank you for joining me at my bench once again. I know it's been a long while since I've had a tutorial, but I decided to give one another go here. And this fly is called the floating pheasant tail nymph. It's a pattern I come up with myself, and it's good to use for an emerger imitation or like a drowning mayfly just under the surface. And I thought you might like to see this guy tied up this time around, so I'll get him out of the vise, a fresh hook in, we'll get started here. The hook of choice is a Mustad 3906B, and I'm tying him on a size 12. So we'll get him locked in the vise here. And thread of choice, I'm using 8/0 uni thread this time around in black. So we'll just start our thread here right behind the eye, about an eye length or so, and we'll just start our thread base back here towards the bend, and we'll stop when we get about to the barb, like so here, and we'll come in and trim off our tag end. Now the tail is simply 5 or 6 pheasant tail fibers, and we're also going to use those for the body as well. So we'll tie those in here about hook gap length, or maybe a little bit better than the length of the hook gape. So we'll pinch those on top and measure them up, make a few wraps back here. Okay, a few forward wraps, and then we're going to fold the pheasant tail fibers back, make a couple wraps to right in front of the tail. Then we'll move our thread up about halfway on the shank. Okay, next we're going to tie in our rib, and I have some UTC small copper wire here, and I'll just catch that in on the far side here where I stop the thread, and we'll wrap that back to right where we stopped our thread at the tail. Then we'll wrap forward about halfway once again and stop our thread. Okay, next we'll take the pheasant tail fibers and we'll wrap them in the usual manner here. We'll just wrap forward, and well, this is a floating nymph, of course, there's no weight on this guy. And we'll just wrap this forward, and as you can tell, most of the time when you cut pheasant tail fibers off the pheasant tail, they're quite short. You don't get a lot of to work with, so I just be patient, take your time, and we'll tie that off right there at the halfway point. And I'll make a few more wraps, secure that down, and come in and snip off the excess here. Okay, now we'll just bind those down good. Okay, next we're going to counter wrap our ribs, so we'll just come around with probably 4 or 5 wraps here, just like so. And then I'll just tie that wire down, fold it back here so it's nice and secure, and I'll just helicopter that off. Okay, next step is to tie in our wing case, and this is the floating part of the fly. And I got some tan colored foam, and I cut a strip about 1/8 inch or so, maybe a little less than 1/8 inch, and we're going to tie that in for our wing case. So we'll lay that on top here, and we just want to make sure you don't crowd the eye, just stay back, and we'll wrap that back to where we left off with our pheasant tail body. Wrap that foam down good, secure it good, and that's right where I want it there. So next step is my thorax, and of course it's peacock herl, and I have 4 strands here ready to go. Just gonna line them up and get the brittle tips cut off here. Okay, we'll snip those off. Now I'll tie those in here right on top. Okay, we'll pinch those down, get them on top, just like so. Now, like you've always seen me do, I like to use a peacock rope anytime I use peacock herl instead of just wrapping it. So I'll make a quick loop here, just like so, and we'll wrap that back to in front of our foam wing case and then forward. Okay, now just grab the herl and the thread together, a set of hackle pliers, and grip the bottom here, and we'll give it a little spin, just like so. And we'll just begin to wrap our thorax. First wrap nice snug against that foam there, then proceed forward, and you're probably going to have to spin it a few times each time you wrap when you make these ropes, just to keep them nice and tight. And I want a pretty robust thorax here, pretty thick. So I'll make one more wrap here, and then we'll come up and tie this guy off. A couple wraps there, a couple in front to lock it in place. Wrap back on it here, and I'll snip that off, nice and easy like. Okay, now a few more securing wraps. Alrighty. Now next step is the legs, and the legs are also pheasant tail fibers, so I'm just going to grab probably anywhere from 6 to 10 more fibers off the tail here, and I'm going to tie those in just like so here. Just going to tie them right on top. Couple wraps like so. Secure them in, then I'm just going to split them. Pretty much even on each side, the amount of legs. If you get one extra on one side, the children aren't going to matter too much about that, so don't worry about it. Just try to get an even amount on each side, just like so. Alrighty, I'll snip that off. Nice and close. Secure it down good. Now all we got left to do is to fold over our foam wing case, just like so. Come give that a good snug wrap here. Check it, make sure it's even on both sides. That looks good. And I'm just going to wrap a few wraps forward on it. Then in front, build a little dam there in front of your foam. Then we're just going to snip that off, or we're just going to leave a little snub there at the front when we snip it off, just like so. Then I'll bring in my whip finisher, and we'll do a 4 or 5 turn whip finish on this guy. Finish him off here. Okay, there we go. Snug it down good and tight. Snip off that excess thread, and there we have it, folks. Another size 12 floating pheasant tail nymph. Tied the same as you do your regular pheasant tails, except you omit the weight, and for the wing case you're using some foam. And one last step, I'm going to take a little bit of go underneath there on the thread wraps and take a little drop of Solar Res bone dry, just a little tad on the thread wraps there. Don't need much, and I'll hit that with the light, and I'll cure that up. There we go. Okay, there we have it, done deal. So I want to thank everyone for watching, and I'm hoping that whoever sees this, if you're any of my subscribers when I had my old channel, that you'll resubscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And also any new viewers, just hit the good old subscribe button and throw in a like too if you wish, or if you have any comments, I'd like to hear them, of course, and I appreciate you watching. So until next time, happy tying out there, stay safe everyone, and I shall see you again soon. Thanks so much for watching. So long for now, folks.